Well, well, well. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Papi. Happy Friday, everybody.
And she's disappearing on the camera as we speak.
We have a green screen in the back, and I'm literally wearing green. Literally the same color. I didn't even think about that. Anyways, I
So,
was trying to be all kinds of cutesy with my earrings because they're gold and green, okay? Anyways,
oh yeah, the green
it's
is showing
gold.
the same.
Look,
The green is showing
it's
the
the
same
same
as the
color.
background too. Yeah, that's really cool.
Anyways, but welcome to date night with Mr. and Mrs. B.
Once again.
Salud.
So, um, tonight's episode, we are going to be talking about what you must release to attract your peace, to attract peace. And a really good, one of my besties. I was speaking to her early on this week, and I asked her if she can help me out with the title of this. Now, and then she suggested something in the realm of what we're talking about, what we must release to attract our peace. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? So we're going to go through different areas of relationships. This is not just going to be about the romantic relationships, but work relationships, friend relationships, family relationships, relationships in general, which is one of the things that, even though the title of the book said, every woman wants four men, every man wants two women, a guide to a lasting, fulfilling relationship, we actually it actually applies to relationships in general. So we want for you to approach tonight's episode with that. Once again, it's just to encourage conversations, healthy conversations. Not to tell you what to do. We're not going to tell you anything. We're not going to give you advice on whether you should stay in a relationship or not or anything like that. Now we gotten the disclaimer out of the way. Now, so on the topic, right? Has anyone, so we're really going to talk about in the romantic relationships aspect of it, how many times people stay in a relationship that can be abusive, toxic, pick one, not going good. And they stay in the relationship based on the memory of, so let me ask you this, Mrs. B. Do you remember your first kiss with me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And of course, you folks, you might remember your first kiss, the first time you did the, you know, um, and that was magical. At least I hope it was magical for everybody. That, yes, that means you. Um, I hope it was magical for you. But many times, what we do in a relationship is that in a relationship we're growing. And one of the phrases that I had put in the book is, if you're not growing together,
You will grow apart.
exactly. So we're constantly growing and evolving and changing. Every day when we wake up, we're an entirely brand new person. New skin, cells, trillions of cells. And if you have a cold and you're blowing your nose and all that stuff, you have cells that's regenerating at a rapid rate. That being said, um, what we encounter is we stay in a relationship. We know it's toxic. We feel it's toxic, but we stay in it based on the memory of how we remembered that person used to be. Is there another way we can word that? You think that pretty much sums it up, right?
Yeah. I don't know what else you want to add
So
to that.
so has anyone out there have have you ever heard someone saying to you, by show of hands, someone saying to you, whatever happened to the old, place your name in there, whatever happened to the old you? I could relate to that you a whole lot better. I like that you a whole lot better, or fill in the blanks. But someone basically recognizing that you've changed and telling you, implying that, like, it was their choice, implying that you should stay the old version of yourself. Yep.
That would be me too.
Yep. And how does it make you feel when somebody comes to you and feel, I've known you so long, and I feel like I can be open enough to tell you, but the old version of you, the you that I remembered from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, place any number you want, that was a person I could get along with that person. This new version of you, I'm not too digging it anymore.
Not
Right?
digging it in a negative way
Well,
because they're expecting for them to be
they want for you to stay the way how you are.
how
Right?
you were.
How you were.
They're not liking the new version of you.
Exactly. And you've experienced that. I've experienced that. How did it make you feel about that person when they came to you and say, hey, you know what? I like the old version of you better. That version of you, I like that better. It's really not their business, right?
It's not, but you know what? There's a lot of people that, when they don't want to make changes for themselves, that's why they can make such statements in that manner, right? If you're changing for the better, right? Because I think this is the conversation
Yes.
we're going for. When you're changing for the better, it's interesting how the same people who stay in their same shit are the same ones that realize how you've changed, and then they try to turn it around like it's a negative thing for you, right? Don't allow people to do that to you.
Yeah.
Don't allow it.
And what I can tell you is when you shed the people, when you release those people, and you feel like a weight lifted off your shoulder because they were actually doing everything without even consciously knowing that they're doing it, doing things to bring about the old version of you. If you reacted a certain way to something, they'll bring up that thing to try to get a rise out of you, and try to inspire. And then, of course, God forbid, because we're such loving, giving people, the people that's close to us that have asserted themselves as though they're that close to us, we want to please them. We're pleasers. So we want to please them. So we start feeling some kind of way for the changes that we've worked on changing to better ourselves, or to change our outlook on things. And if something happens and you revert back to that, they're like, there's the Jessica I knew, or there's the B that I remembered. And it's like, how is that a good thing? I snapped, or I lost my temper, or I did something that was negative, that was the old version of me. I tried to better myself, and all of a sudden you want to see the old version of me. Well, that's the topic of tonight. What you must release to attract your peace. And that is the hardest thing that many of us, and those of us who are in relationships that might be abusive, toxic, in so many negative ways, how can I stand here or sit here and tell anybody you got to release from that? But are you holding on? If you're in an abusive relationship and someone is abusing you physically or mentally, you're sticking around based on the way you remembered when the romance was good, when the sex was good, when they used to take you out to dinner, and some or all of that have changed, but you're just riding on that high of how you remembered how things used to be.
That might be so, but sometimes those type of relationships that are abusive and that are not right, there's a lot of fear that goes into that too, and why they stay with certain people.
True.
However, if you're that individual that you want nothing better for yourself, and you have to really ask your question. You have to ask yourself the question. Do I want to live for the rest of my life in this turmoil? And this is the way I ask myself, right? And this is a question I asked myself not too long ago. Do I want to dwindle away and die? I know that sounds kind of harsh, right? But if you think about it, when you're living in turmoil so much with relationships with people in that magnitude, you're just kind of taking a piece of yourself and throwing it away, in other words, right? Or do you want to live in peace? Do you want to be in a situation where you want to have better loving relationships, romantic, they could be work, whichever way it is, but you got to ask yourself sometimes those tough questions, like, how is this serving me?
Yeah.
How is this relationship making me feel? Is this how I want to feel?
Yeah.
And assess the questions, write them down, and give your answers.
Yeah.
And then
be
go
honest
back.
with these.
Yeah,
with those
you should be honest with yourself when you're asking yourself certain questions. But that's I mean, those are things that I know I did to assess, those type of relationships, or anybody who was trying to get me to be the old Jessica, right?
Yeah.
Who is it benefiting?
Yeah.
You or them?
Exactly. And so many times, because we care about those people, we're willing to sacrifice ourselves
And
many
that's
times
true, and that's very true, because
to stay in a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, we've all done it,
hoping
right?
for that one good moment that
Yeah.
you remembered how they used to be, or hoping for that one, and prolonging this dysfunctional scenario where both sides are frustrated. Okay, because one person's side is feeling pushed, the other person is just not feeling fulfilled, so you have this mismatch of people. Again, we are not here to advocate for breaking up relationships, but
No.
there is a way that you can have a healthy conversation regarding this type of scenario. And the healthy conversation is, look, clearly you are changing in which other way. How would I need to adjust to meet your current change? Again, having a conversation, knowing that your goal should not be to have that person go backwards to how they used to be. That's the most important thing. Not to go backwards. Okay? So, it's always, we have a thing that I say, forward ever, backward never. And I actually try to replace, anytime I'm tempted to say the word back, to replace it with forward. So, or revert or whatever. But there's just this energy of going backwards when someone just can't accept you. And then, like I said, the way how it would make me feel, or how it has made me feel, is I feel like this person never really accepted me, or they accepted an old version, but now that I've transformed, they can't accept the new version of me. So they're doing everything in their power to get that old version, because that's who they can relate to. That version might have been struggling or whatever, and they found you more relatable when you were at a lower point of your life. So again, two totally different scenarios. There's the acquaintances, job relationship, whatever. But then there's a romantic relationship. And of course, the ones where you stick in a relationship on the hope that version that you got hooked on.
Honestly, if you've been with somebody for a while and you've known them for a very long time, and you have made a conscious decision that you want to do better for yourself, you want more more out of life, maybe your relationship, you want it to change, maybe in the aspect of the way of you guys communicating, the way that you're making love, intimacy, those are all important factors. However, if you know that certain individual is not willing to make any change or any compromise or anything like that, you got to ask yourself, do I really want to live with this for the rest of my life?
Absolutely.
Do I want to wake up to this every day? Because if you're truly wanting to do better for yourself, that's where you have to take and cut out certain people, out of your life, right? In order for you to move on and for you to be able to grow.
Absolutely.
And I believe that is important, because when you feel a certain kind of way of how you feel that you should be, or how you should be treated, or what you want for yourself, that's self-love right there.
Yeah.
Right? That's
100%.
self-love right there. And you should expect nothing less.
Yeah.
Ever.
So on that note, a conversation is supposed to be a two-way street. Same way like it takes two people to have a relationship. If one person's the only one working on the relationship, the conversation should be an easy conversation. Here's how we're changing. And then even planning the excitement can be how we can plan in this changes for the future. But if one person's the one interested and the other person just isn't, we have a mismatch. Okay? And that's just a simple truth. It takes two people to have a relationship. It takes two people to have an argument. It takes two people to have a conversation. So, I leave each and every one of you with the question of the title of the topic. What we must release in order to attract our peace. Mm-hmm. It's a question, it's a conversation, and sometimes you might have to come together as a couple and decide outside of your relationship what you might need to release to attract your peace.
And a good thing too, if this is, when you watch our shows and there's certain questions that we're asking, write them down and ask yourself honestly. Yeah. Come up with your answers and be honest with yourself and be honest with your spouse or your partner or whoever you're with, if that's who you choose you want to be with. Those are conversations. This is why we do this show. Sometimes there's some conversations that are like, oh,
the tough conversations.
Yeah. However, if you love someone, you care. So first of all, if you love and you care about yourself that much, and you're asking yourself the tough questions, that says a lot.
Yeah.
And then if you're working with your partner and you guys are doing this together, you guys are gonna have an amazing relationship.
The heart wants what the heart wants.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
And you know what you know. You love who you love, but it's only fair that the person should love you right back. So, that being said, before you give your tagline, make sure that self-love is not being selfish.
Yes, that is very true.
Make sure you love yourself unconditionally. Don't set conditions to it. And Mrs. B?
Love up on each other, everybody. And make sure that you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, like us, ask us questions, send us conversation that you guys want to talk about. Please do. Go ahead and message us. We're always open to talking with you guys. And on that note, Mr. B.
Yeah. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Enjoy your weekend.
Enjoy your date night. Talk to you soon.